Yeah. Welcome back to the 36th episode of the Boy Oh Boy Wowie podcast. Today we have another big guest who played 14 games for Hawthorn and is now the head coach of Perth in the WAFL. Please welcome Garry Moss. Thanks heaps for coming on today, mate.
No worries, Bailey. Good to have me. Thank you.
How'd you first get involved in footy?
Look, mate, I'm probably just like most people playing junior footy with my local club and really loved playing footy and interacting with friends and that sort of thing. And as things progressed, got further and further along, I guess, the pathway and really loved my footy.
Yeah. Who were your sort of childhood idols growing up and who did you love watching?
Yeah, so my whole family are all old South Melbourne supporters. So grew up going for Sydney. And one that springs to mind is Paul Kelly, just being a tough inside midfielder, won a Brownlow medal. And then also Peter Matera, who played over here in WA on the wing for West Coast. They're probably the two standouts, mate.
Yeah. Who did you... So you obviously went for South Melbourne as a kid then?
Yeah, for Sydney, yeah, when they transferred over, yep.
Who were some of your junior coaches that sort of really helped you develop your footy?
Yeah, so I played at Marist, which is a club over in WA. And one of my coaches was Dan Foley, who actually played a few games for Richmond back in the day. And he was a huge sort of person in developing me as a footballer and also as a person. So that's probably one of the reasons why I've got into coaching as well, is the impact that him and some other guys have had on me as a person, not only as a footballer.
Yeah, when did you start to take your footy like really seriously?
I reckon when I was about 13, mate. So just as I was getting into high school, really started to get keen on it, and I missed out on a state schoolboys squad, which I think was under 14s or 15s, and that probably fueled the fire a little bit and made me really hungry to get better and improve, and it sort of stemmed from that.
Even though that was at a young age, what was it like to miss out on such a big opportunity?
Yeah, I think like most young kids, you get really disappointed and get down on yourself. But I think the love of the game is what keeps you striving to get better. And then I think that's what ends up spurring you on to get where you get to. And I think that's for all people, is if you're loving the game and loving what you're doing, whether it's sport or in life, at work, you're going to be pretty good at it.
Yeah, what was your lead up to the draft like?
Yes, I was pretty fortunate, mate, in terms of I was part of back then it was called the AIS Academy, and we travelled to Ireland and played in a series, and we're really fortunate to get a number of good coaching resources and things like that, and played for WA in the state 18s and captained that side, which is really nice privilege, and then went through to the draft that year and went at pick 56, so it was a bit nerve-wracking getting towards the end of the draft, but looking back on it, was a great experience.
Yeah, what was it like to captain your state?
Yeah, mate, it's really good. I guess it's probably enjoyable now when you look back at some of the players that were in that side. They played for WA, so you got guys like Matt Leuenberger, who played for Brisbane and Essendon, and Leroy Jetta, Eric McKenzie, who won best and fairest at West Coast Eagles. So there's a number of guys that end up getting drafted from that side, and even now bumping into them over in WA, you've got a connection still from playing together, and that's probably the thing I take away from it most. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you think that you were going to get drafted?
Oh, look, mate, I was really hopeful. I guess having played in the state academies through 16s and 18s, you're really keen to get drafted, but you never know until the day. I remember speaking to a lot of people before the draft and saying that you just need one club that wants to take the chance on you, and really fortunate that Hawthorn were that club.
Yeah, what was it like when the Hawks did read your name out at pick 56?
Yeah, it was pretty exciting, mate. I'm an only child, and sort of grew up with mum and dad, and I think the fact of moving, the reality of that I was going to have to move away from home was probably hit us pretty quick. I was really excited. Mum was probably a little bit upset, but no, it was a great day, mate.
Yeah, how hard was that to leave home at a pretty young age?
Yeah, it was. I think it's hard to leave your friends and family behind at 18, but it was also a really good life experience. Getting to live away from home for 4 years, and I think it's really helped me grow as a person and set me up for life. And I feel um, like it was a really valuable experience.
Yeah, what were your first couple of weeks at the Hawks like, and was there anyone who sort of acted as a mentor to you?
Yeah, I was. It was probably pretty full on. You get thrust into what is a really high performance environment, full time professional footballers, and you're looking around seeing guys like Shane Crawford, Sam Mitchell, Luke Hodge. At the time, Buddy Franklin and Jared Ruffhead were still sort of carving their way out, but were really big personalities.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a great couple of weeks. Really fortunate I'd spent some time with Xavier Ellis through the AIS Academy and got drafted with him. He was a year before me, so I had a bit of a relationship with him, which was really nice. And I spent the first month living with Sam Mitchell, so that was really good.
Yeah, was there a point, not just in preseason, but before your debut that you thought you might be getting a debut?
Mate, it all come pretty quick. So I had some injuries early in my first year with some groin and hip stuff, and hadn't played a lot of footy, and then played a Box Hill Reserves game, just played a half, and then the following week played on Anzac Day. We played Coburg, I think, at Box Hill, and then I played the following week. So it all happened really, really quickly. Really fortunate that it was against Freo over here in Perth on Mother's Day, so it was a really good occasion for the family as well.
Yeah, when did you find out that you were going to debut?
I think it was on the Wednesday leading into the week. Clarko rang me and let me know that I was going to play. So yeah, it was exciting, mate.
Um, yeah, what was that feeling when you were told that you were going to debut?
Oh, look, I think it's similar to when you get drafted. It's sort of recognition of the hard work that you've put in. I guess the sacrifices you and your family have made to sort of get you there. And yeah, I think would have loved to have played a lot more games in my AFL career, mate. It was pretty short, but it is something you look back on with really fond memories.
Yeah, what was it like to debut in your home state, even though you were drafted interstate?
Yeah, great, mate. Like I said, it was a really good opportunity for all my friends and family to get there and be live at the game, and then was even fortunate enough to be able to spend an extra day over in WA before I come back and get to share that with them was really really special. Even though we lost the game, it was really nice.
Yeah, even though you did lose, what was the feeling after your debut, as it's such a big game for you?
I reckon, yeah, it's a bit of relief, I guess, that it's happened, but also for me, it was a real eye opener into what to expect at AFL level and the standard. So yeah, it was a real a great learning experience, I guess, when you look back on it, of what's required to play at that sort of level.
Yeah, and what was that like to share with your family?
Yeah, mate, outstanding. Yeah, it was really good. Like I said, on Mother's Day, to be able to share that with my mum and my dad was fantastic.
What was it like to have an injury ruined season in 2008?
Yeah, it was pretty tough, mate. I was off the back of my first year. I had some real troubles in my groins and my hips, and just couldn't get out on the track for long enough. And being out of contract that year, you sort of think that it's going to all end pretty quickly. So yeah, it was tough, especially living away from home and not being around your family. It's pretty tough time to try and get through those things without a lot of your natural support network around you. But yeah, I was really fortunate that the Hawks really kept some faith in me, and I was fortunate enough to get re-rookied after that year and spend a couple more years on the list.
Yeah, what was it like to watch the Hawks win the premiership, and how did you sort of feel as you weren't playing in it?
Yeah, it's probably a unique experience, mate. I think for the guys who are just outside the 22 and miss out, it would be extremely hard to watch. I was probably in a different position where I was never a realistic chance to be playing in the finals or in that game. So I actually really enjoyed it. It was one of the, still to this day, even without playing, it was one of the better weeks of my life, being a part of it and sharing that experience with guys who did play and seeing the joy that they got from it was something I won't forget.
Yeah, what was it like to win the NAB Rising Star nomination in 2009 after a 4-goal and 24 disposal performance?
Yeah, look, that was probably the highlight of my career, mate, to be honest, from a personal level. And to do it against West Coast, who are obviously from my home state, and I guess fortunate that a lot of my friends and family watched it because it was a West Coast game and it was televised back here. Yeah, it was a really good day down in Tassie. It was cold and wet, and still something I remember really fondly. And when I've had a couple of beers, I tend to rehash it with a couple of the mates. So yeah, it's still one I live off a little bit.
Yeah, what was it like to be delisted then redrafted?
Yeah, like I said, it was a really tough year in '08. I probably was at that stage where I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but the Hawks were pretty good to me and said that come and do a pre-season, and if everything goes well, they would re-rookie me, and they stuck true to their word, and that's sort of what happened.
Yeah, what was it like to be a lot of the time struck down with injury and how much did that affect you?
Yeah, look, it was really difficult, mate. I probably had far too many injuries throughout my career, but in saying that, I was in 2010. I played almost every game of that season where I either played AFL or VFL, and my body was reasonably sound towards the end of that season, and just probably wasn't at the level that needed to be consistent AFL footballer, and that's why I was unfortunately delisted.
Yeah, what was it like to play a full season in 2010 and how much confidence did that give you?
Yeah, look, it was pretty good, mate. I played early on in the season and then struggled with some form at VFL level, and yeah, it gave me confidence in my body that I could sustain it, and I guess that helped when I transitioned back to the WAFL over here in WA.
Yeah, how hard, what was it like to be delisted that second time?
Yeah, it was difficult, mate. I think you realise I went and spent a month at Sydney trying to train with them to get on their list, and missed out then. So the natural move for me was to come home and play with my original club, East Perth, over here in the WAFL, and really indebted to them because they sort of set up my career off field, and I worked at the footy club as a talent development manager, and that's helped grow my career outside of football, and been really pleased with how that's gone. And yeah, I guess it was although it was a disappointing time to be delisted, it sort of allowed me to grow up and build my life outside of football.
Yeah, when you were delisted, what sort of happened after that? Did you go and try and obviously you trained with Sydney, but was there any other clubs you sort of tried to get to?
I spoke to a couple of clubs in really brief conversations, but nothing really eventuated. And yeah, that's how it panned out, mate.
Yeah, what was it like to go back to the WAFL and play there?
Yeah, look, it's a pretty good standard of football over here. What I do, I played for the first 3 seasons. We played over here. We played finals twice, and we're going pretty well. And then, unfortunately, did my ACL in 2013 and missed another full year of footy. The club played in the grand final that year and lost, and then the following year we played in another granny and lost. And so yeah, I think I played 90 odd games for East Perth, but again, unfortunately, it was sort of cut short with knee injuries. I did both my ACLs in sort of a 6-year period, and retired at 28, so 29, so pretty early.
Yeah, what was your last game at the Hawks like for you?
Yeah, probably at the time I didn't know it was my last game, mate, but we played Sydney at the SCG. and I think we were down by about 10 goals at quarter time. At 3/4 time, and then ended up getting beat. So, it wasn't ideal, but on reflection, that's how it all played out.
Yeah, what was it like to be coached by Clarko?
Oh, look, I think it's certainly helped my coaching, mate. He's tactically the best I've ever seen. The way he motivates men and sells a story is extremely impressive, and something that I've tried to, I guess, take from him as much as I could. But yeah, I think looking back, what he's been able to do is amazing. And there's certainly parts of his coaching style that I've tried to adopt myself.
Yeah, what were the best moments for you at Hawthorn?
Oh, look, mate, I guess you look back on your first game with joy, even though we lost, and that's a really good reflection. I look back on obviously the game against West Coast, where it was certainly my best game that I played. And then you see those two games and think that that's probably the things you enjoy. But then I probably look back on the time more around the friends that I created. So guys like Xavier Ellis, Tom Murphy, Chance Bateman, who I coach with now, have got lifelong friends out of playing for the Hawks. So that's probably the thing I take away most, mate.
Yeah, who were the best players that you played with?
Oh, very tough question. I think Buddy's clearly probably one of the best of all time. Sam Mitchell was very, very good player, and so was Luke Hodge. Probably the one I enjoyed watching the most, and actually found myself on the field playing with him and not doing what I should be doing, actually watching in awe of what he was doing, was Cyril Rioli. I just thought he was amazing, mate. And yeah, just a unique player, really.
Yeah, how'd you get involved in coaching?
Yeah, look, when I got injured, I was pretty keen to try my hat at coaching, and I come to Perth Footy Club as an assistant coach. And first of all, to see if I enjoyed it, and second, to see if I was any good at it. And as soon as I started doing it, mate, I really loved it. I love working with the players, trying to improve them. I love the game day sort of vibes and what that gives you. And I was sort of taken by it straight away. And from there, was keen to coach my own side and coach the under-18s at East Perth for 2 seasons, and really enjoyed that. And that's sort of where my progression took me to now coaching the Perth League side.
Yeah, what was it like to go from under-18s to where you are now as a coach?
Yeah, it's different. I think I was really lucky last season. I was the assistant coach, and we had a bit of a succession plan to take over from Earl Spalding, who was obviously a Carlton Premiership player. And that really helped, being an assistant first, getting to know the boys, and now this season taking over, feeling like I actually really understand where the group's at. Gave me a chance to assess the list and all those sort of things before actually taking over the head role, I guess.
Yeah, what's it like to be a head coach in the WAFL side, in the WAFL?
Yeah, look, mate, it's really enjoyable. I think get to see the development of individuals on a daily basis and the work that they're putting in, but also team success is what we're striving for here. The club hasn't had a lot of success over the last 40-odd years. So that's something we're really building towards. Got a really great bunch of guys who are keen to get better and improve, and we've got a really good coaching group who are close and really enjoy each other's company, but also are trying to create something really special in the environment we've got here. So it's been an enjoyable sort of first few months, mate. But I guess like most jobs, coaching jobs, you're sort of ruled by win and loss, and we're trying to become a really consistent football side to take that out of the equation.
How much pressure do you feel as the head coach?
Yeah, you certainly do, mate. I think you certainly, when you win games, you feel really relieved, and when you lose, you feel the walls closing in a little bit and realise that there is pressure and there's work to be done.
What do you feel some of the fundamentals of coaching?
Oh, look, I think there's probably 2 aspects to it. It's the coaching the individual and then coaching the team. But I think a lot of the stuff with the individual is based around building strong relationships with them, so you can have honest conversations and you can help them get better. If you show genuine care for your players, they're more likely to listen to what you've got to say and then actually act on what you're putting in front of them. And then I think that actually builds into the team. If they feel like it's a safe environment to play footy in, that they're valued, and that you've got a vision between, I guess, the whole group, then you can really create a good environment. And that's sort of the basis of starting it. And then you've got all your skills and your game plan and all that feeds off it. But I think that's the most important part to start with, mate.
Yeah, who have been some of the best players that you've coached?
Best players that I've coached. Look, in the short time probably that I've been coaching, we had young Logan McDonald here last year, who I think went pick 3 to Sydney or 4 to Sydney. He's played the first few games for them and looked really good. He's probably talent-wise as good as we've seen. Been really fortunate. We've got Chris Maston here, AFL Premiership player, played over 200 games of AFL footy. He's part of our setup. Fraser McInnes, who was also at the Eagles for 8 years or so. He's one of our co-captains. So, yeah, fortunate to have some really handy players.
That's everything I got for you, mate. Thanks heaps for coming on and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Bailey. Great to have you. Thanks, mate.